All right, great. We are recording. Okay. All right. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And, I know it's an interesting time. Holidays are coming up. So, I really acknowledge you for creating a space and creating the time to do your healing work and to receive what is here for you today. So, before we dive in, I want to just kind of set the container and really create a safe and sacred space for everyone today. So, I invite you to eliminate all distractions. So, if you are using your phone, maybe you can turn it on Do Not Disturb, just so you can really be fully present for all of the wisdom, all of the medicine that's here for you today. And yeah, let go of whatever happened today, what you have to do after this. Let yourself be fully immersed in this, sacred ceremony that we have. Is everyone cool with that? Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. I'm going to just share a little bit about my journey. Then we're going to get into all of the yummy content for today. At the end of our class and our session, I am going to offer, what could be next for you if you are looking for more support. And then we're going to have time for Q&A at the end. So a few of you will get some laser coaching one-on-one with me. All right. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Hannah Dillon. I am a love, sex, and intimacy coach. And I would say my biggest joy is really supporting women in reclaiming their sexuality, creating a new relationship with the divine feminine, and really healing from heartbreak, from heartache, and stepping into a whole new identity of what the divine feminine is. So that is, I would say my purpose here, my mission here, and my intention with all of you today is to help you see you in a different light. So for whatever the call was for you to be on here, whether it was, you're someone who is going through a breakup, it's hard for you to let go of a few ex-lovers or that, one ex that keeps reemerging. I really invite you to be open to receive new possibility, a new wisdom, and a new way to, maybe see the masculine as a whole in a different light. So that's a little bit about what we're going to do. And before we dive in, I would love for us to ground into our bodies. So we're going to do a quick meditation. So if you are able to close your eyes, hopefully no one's driving, just get nice and comfortable in your seat and relax into your body. So start by closing your eyes. You can bring your palms face up on your lap if you'd like. Relax the shoulders and just take a few moments here. So taking a nice deep inhale through the nose, breathing into your belly, into the lower abdomen, extending the heart, and then exhale, letting it all go. Good. And take another deep inhale. Exhale, letting go. Nice. And just notice if you can relax all parts of your body. So notice if you're clenching the jaw in any way, the space in between your eyebrows. Can you relax your shoulders even more? And just take a moment to acknowledge yourself for being here, for creating the space, creating the time for you. Reconnecting to the wisdom that lies within your body. Taking a few more deep breaths. If you want to place your hands on your low belly, the womb space, reconnecting to her, the wisdom that she holds. And exhale, letting go. Good. Another deep inhale. See if you can hold the breath at the top here. Sip in a little more air. And exhale, surrender all the way. Maybe let go with a little sigh. setting any intention for yourself. If you could walk away with one thing from today, what would you want to walk away from? What is that one thing where you just want that breakthrough? You want to finally have that breakthrough and experience freedom in your mind, experience freedom in your body and in your spirit, and trust that you listened to the call that brought you here. Whether you are currently grieving a loss, grieving through something that is heavy on your heart, my invitation and my intention with all of you is that we clear some stuff today, that we clear some stuff out of the body. A lot of my work, I work on the energetic and the practical. So take a nice deep inhale, breathing in your intention of what you want to receive. And exhale, letting go of everything that's happened up until this moment. And just taking a few more moments here. Good. And then feel your feet connecting to the ground, the earth beneath you, if your feet are planted. Feel your womb. And give yourself a moment of gratitude. And slowly grounding yourself back, opening up your eyes whenever you're ready. Welcome back, ladies. All right. So this, I like to call it this, ceremony that we're going to be in this session. While I am going to be, of course, sharing and teaching, I love interaction. So if there's something that I share and it's like, oh my God, that landed so much, I would love for you to share it in the chat box, because it can really support other women as well, to know that they're not alone and to really connect and relate to whatever it is that you are working through and, moving through. So yeah, if there's anything that you feel called, and then we do have questions at the end, but if there's something like pressing, if it's relevant to what I'm talking about and I'm able to answer it, you can put that in the chat as well. All right, so let's dive in. So welcome officially to 3 Keys to Turning Grief into Pleasure. And I'll share just a really quick story. So this has been channeling through me just a lot through my own healing, a lot of breakups, a lot of heartache, and asking myself when I'm in like the muck of things, right? When I've been in just that heaviness, that pain of feeling so heavy in my heart, feeling so heavy in my body, asking spirit, my higher self, like, how do I get through this? How do I reconnect to me, to my, sacred holy body, and experience my divine pleasure again? Because sometimes it can feel so far away, right? I don't know if anyone can relate, but exploring your body after a breakup, it can feel weird because you're so used to being with another person, right? And maybe some of you are in relationships right now, but there still is some type of disconnect. So the first key to transforming your grief into pleasure is feeling it all. So some of you may or may not have heard this, but the biggest key that I have found for myself and what I've worked on with my clients is welcoming and embracing all of the waves that come up. So without judgment, right? So what I have seen for a lot of my clients is that they will judge themselves that there are still waves that come on even 6 months or a year after, having to release someone out of their life. And what I have found is the biggest key to welcoming in and calling in more pleasure, more joy, more sensuality is that if you're not allowing it to come up and to be expressed the way that it wants to, because grief, of course, happens in layers, right? Whether it's denial, anger, sadness, and not wanting to acknowledge it, there's different levels to what happens in the grief process. And the biggest thing, again, is embracing every single wave that comes up and also not having to figure out why it's happening and then also what it means. So that's where the ego needs to be a little, like the dissolving of the ego. The ego wants to know, well, why am I still feeling this? Right? Why is this coming up? And what does this mean? And can I identify it? And that analyzer aspect of our brains wants to try and figure it out. But if you want to let your body and let your entire being receive more pleasure, whether it's in the bedroom or just pleasure on a daily basis, right? Pleasure with your food, pleasure with life, with nature. You must welcome every single wave that comes up. But then it's also not to get too lost in the emotional roller coaster of it. So that's where your inner masculine gets to come in. So one of the keys to moving this grief is harnessing both your inner masculine and inner feminine energy. So that's what a lot of my work is, balancing both the inner masculine and the inner feminine within us. So if this is new to you, every single human being, whether you identify as a woman or as a man or a non-binary, has both the inner masculine and the inner feminine energy. And so with the grieving process, it's letting your feminine feel, but then the inner masculine gets to come in and almost, how do I describe it? It's like giving a time limit to your grief, giving a time limit to, okay, I'm going to let myself sit in this for the next hour, or I'm going to give myself the whole day. And then after, give yourself a task, like give yourself a task to actually do something so you can move the energy along. So is this landing for you guys? Maybe thumbs up, a little head nod. Yes, I see some smiles. We're like, yep. Okay, beautiful. Good. So that is the first key. Again, embracing it every single time. I've had this one lover in my life. We've been on and off for 3 years. I haven't dated him in a while, but I will still sometimes have these layers come up. And I will notice that little judgment of like, why am I still sad? Why am I still angry about this? But then every time I drop deeper into allowance, instantaneously, more beauty, more divinity, more abundance will automatically come in because I'm creating space for it. Right? Awesome. All right. So the next key to transforming your grief into pleasure, you guys, is connecting with your womb on a deeper level. So I know some of you here probably already do this. It may or may be new, it may not be, but the womb holds everything. The womb is both, your actual stomach, like the lower abdomen, and then it's also your yoni. So if you're not familiar with the term yoni, it is the Sanskrit word for a woman's vulva. I like to personally use this term. I feel it just creates a deeper sacred connection to our feminine parts. So your womb actually can hold someone that you have been, have had sexual intercourse with. It can hold a lover inside the womb up to 7 years. Up to 7 years on an energetic level, you can have an ex-lover's kind of imprint inside of your womb. So if you are someone that, notices that ex-lovers reemerge, whether it's in your mind, actually in your physical space, and you can't seem to like release them and let them go, it could be because you're not clearing your womb enough and you're not connecting to her enough. To me, she has her own intelligence, right? So something that I do in my work is actual womb clearings. And it's a really deep, powerful process that I take my clients through. And one woman in particular that I'm thinking of right now, we just did a clearing like about a week and a half ago. And it's pretty remarkable what happened in the last week and a half. So she wasn't getting her period for about like 6 months. She got her period a week later. She also was experiencing a lot of discomfort during sex, and she then was not experiencing discomfort anymore. And she also was someone who was getting really bad UTIs, like chronic UTIs. So I don't know if any woman can relate. If you've ever gotten a UTI or a yeast infection, like they freaking suck. They're awful. And this is about, not fully trusting the wisdom of your body. It's about a disconnect that's happening between, because I believe that your womb and your yoni, like, again, it has its own intelligence. And once you start to connect to her more, she will tell you if a man is for you or not. So when it comes to transforming your grief into pleasure, when you're connected to this space, it's almost like you won't have to go through that pain anymore when she is there for you, right? So a quick story about myself. I was starting to see this guy a couple of years ago, and I kind of had this feeling. I'm like, I don't think he's really the guy for me, right? I just felt some off, energy in the space. And one time we were on the phone, and when we got off the phone, my yoni literally started to like itch and burn. And literally, I heard, was like, "This is a sign for you that this is a no. Like, this man is not welcome in your sexual energy, right?" So it's really creating that sacredness on, I like to call it, she's your sacred temple of who you are allowing into your body, because, it's your body, and sexual energy is very powerful. So you want to be able to tune into that aspect. And a huge part of that is clearing the womb from past lovers, through different processes that I do in my one-on-one work. So is this landing for you guys? I'd love to hear in the chat box. Ali said yes. Has anyone ever experienced, UTIs? If you're definitely landing, beautiful. And are there any questions around this? I, for some reason, just, feeling guided to ask now if there's anything. Repeated BV. Oh, yeah. Oh, my heart goes out to you. It's a lot. It's a lot as a woman to carry the energy that we do. Right. Thank you guys for being vulnerable and for sharing. All right. So the last key that we're going to dive into is one of my favorites. So transforming grief into pleasure it's a multi-layered process, right? And so the last key that I have found has supported me drastically is connecting and really devoting to my pleasure practices. And the two main ones that I'm going to share with you today are breast massage and using a crystal wand in a pleasure practice. So if anyone is familiar with a crystal wand, we'll start there for a moment. It's kind of like the shape of a dildo, and it's completely crystal. So it has no like synthetic anything. It's not a vibrator. It's completely different. So again, I don't know how familiar anyone is here. So I'm just going to kind of go through the whole logistics of the process. Of course, I'm not going to like show anything today, but just talk about how supportive it can be in your healing process. So with the crystal wand, basically the crystals, obviously they have healing properties. So I have just like a regular crystal right here, my magic globe. And when you can use it for the intention of healing, it can transmute and alchemize low energies and also trauma. So we store all of our trauma inside of our yoni as a woman. And when we are not addressing it, it can lead to things like BV, UTIs, yeast infections, discomfort and pain while you're having sex, and maybe a low libido, also guilt and shame around your own pleasure, right? So when you use the wand and you do something called vaginal de-armoring, where you pretty much massage the vaginal walls inside of your yoni, what happens is it starts to dissolve that tension and that tightness. And using breath work, sounds, and different tantric techniques, holy moly, it's truly life-changing, and it has completely transformed my life in my own, sexual healing journey. And so with the crystal wand, when you massage the cervix, so the cervix is like, all the way back in our biological body. That is what is holding all of our trauma as women. And even if you're someone that, you've never experienced sexual abuse or intense trauma, I do believe that we've all experienced some form of trauma in our life, whether, you've ever slept with a man under the influence and your body, you weren't really ready and your body was just, not there. That is a form of trauma. Ever allowing a man to enter you when your body's a no, but you let him enter you anyway, that's a form of trauma. So anything of that form, it gets stored inside of our body and it creates that tension. So the cervix is directly connected to the heart. So the reason why de-armoring is such a powerful process is because when you are massaging the cervix, you are also cracking open your heart again. Does this make sense? And it's such a beautiful process. So when you're working with grief, the reason why the wand can be so powerful is because when you're using it and again, creating intention with it. So a lot of the work that I do, it's teaching women about how pleasure practices. It's, yes, of course, about pleasure, but it's so much deeper than that. As you can tell, it's really for the purpose of healing. Let me pause here. I just saw something in the chat. So Allie, if there is sexual trauma associated, could it be stored longer or shorter than 7 years in the yoni? Yes. With sexual trauma, definitely longer than 7 years. That can be stored your entire life if it's never addressed, right? So I want to, just give a little disclaimer. I don't pride myself as like a trauma worker. However, the work that I do does naturally start to clear trauma, if that makes sense. Okay, awesome, Allie. Yeah. So if you have experienced any type of sexual abuse or trauma, the wand is, in my experience, like the most potent and powerful thing that you can do. And having someone guide you through it and supporting you in that process is key, I believe. So then with breast massage, so if you think about it, our beautiful boobies, they lay on top of our heart, right? So in some sense, they're a protection. So they are resting on our heart and they are protecting our hearts. So when you are moving through a heavy heart, or you just want to open your heart more, you want to heal your heart. The heart is the beauty of the feminine, right? Using breast massage techniques and practices can start to circulate that energy. So when you're working with grief, you want to be able to move that energy around and clear it out using like breath work and different sounds as well. So similar to the wand practice, but of course it's a little distinct and different. So some of the work that I do with my clients is teaching them how to do different breast massage techniques for what they're wanting to release, whether it's anger, sadness, depression, anxiety. Anytime that I feel like that heaviness on my heart and use my breast massage technique, it literally transforms my entire energy field. It transforms, my whole state of mind, my entire being. And I really feel like I'm able to move that energy so much faster rather than just sitting with it and trying to think it through. That never really works. I'm someone who does love a still meditative practice, but once you start to incorporate these embodiment practices and tools that I'm sharing with you guys, it just enhances your healing process so much more, right? It really accelerates and creates that momentum again, where you can start to fall back in love with you and fall back in love with your body. Because I am such a believer that as the feminine, we have, this stance and this kind of mission to uphold, where we get to tune into the wisdom of what we're here for. And whether, you are someone who believes they are some form of healer, coach, medicine woman, someone who's here to impact others, the sexual energy that is within us gets to be harnessed in a healthy way. So if you're someone that, even feels uncomfortable in this conversation, I want you to know, like, that's okay. And it's normal. And let's create it to be normal to have these conversations with our friends, right? So I love talking with my girlfriends, with my sisters about my pleasure practice and sharing, different things that come up for me. And that helps kind of clear this guilt and shame around it. Right. And I know it can be kind of weird. I know it could be like different than what society has it as. Right. So is this landing for all of you guys? Let me know in the chat um, what's coming up for you. Yes. Perfect. Good. Yeah. And so, the other thing I wanted to touch on is the importance of creating a sisterhood when you are moving through your stuff, moving through grief. So, I have incredible roommates. One is actually on tonight, and we support each other so much when it comes down to, letting go of old lovers and really anything. And so, having sisterhood connections and creating intimacy with your sisters helps you start to dissolve the shame and the guilt, helps you start to dissolve that grief even quicker, because that support is, to me, it is medicine. It's so potent to have that. So I know it's an interesting time, and I don't know, where you are in the world exactly, like if you're meeting up with people, but however you can create that sacredness with sisters, that is like one of my biggest invitations for you today, is to seek out sisterhood and create that support to help you move through your healing process faster. All right, let's check some questions we have. Okay, we've got 2 questions. Where you find a crystal wand? Awesome. So I actually have a connection with a woman who is in Canada, and she creates amazing crystal wands. Excuse me. So I'm an ambassador for her. So at the end of this, what I'll do is I'm going to send you guys an email after our call today, and in the email I'm going to put a link to where you can get the wand from her, and you can get 10% off with a code that I'm going to give you. So you guys are good to go on the wands. I'm glad that you guys are interested in the wands. That's awesome. Good. Yes, you're welcome, Wendy. All right, let me see if there's anything else in the chat. Okay, awesome. Beautiful. All right, so let me just check my notes here. So I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm going to pause on some of the didactic learning. I'd love to create some interaction with you guys now. So what is your intention for being here today? Like, if you could walk away with one thing, what would that be, if you're open to share it? You can do it in the chat, or if you want to come on video, you are welcome to do that as well. I'll give you guys a moment. Or if you have some, pressing questions that are on the forefront of your mind, you have a little time to share it before I dive into the next aspect of our call. Come on, I know someone's got something.
Hey.
See Jillian thinking. Hi, Anjali.
Oh my gosh. Hey. I feel like it's like such a sensitive space to open up in, and I feel like yeah, it's like I know that there are things that I want to work on that just like it's hard for me to even be clear on it. And that's what I'm really hoping to walk away with is clarity on what I'm really like searching for when it comes to embodying my sacred femininity and healing past trauma and where I'm going to go from here and the relationship that I've been involved with and like how to like figure out what is healthy and yeah, just like holding space with these sisters is really healing for that, and just like, being here present with you has already begun that process, and I think that just like sisterhood is what I'm really looking for and needing.
Mm,
So yeah, it's
beautiful.
hard to even like put words on it. Thank
Yeah,
you so
I
much.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Awesome. So that is so perfect because it kind of leads me into the next section, and kind of, I guess, a little bonus content and medicine that I wanted to share with you all. So thank you, Anjali, for sharing that. And yeah, when I was putting this workshop out, I really tuned in to on an energetic level, like what do I feel a lot of the feminine needs right now? What in the collective is really pressing? And the two things I got were, healing from breakup and getting clarity on if a man is for you or not. And so with all of the little nuggets that I've shared. So we've talked about, embracing every wave that comes up, right? The next thing was all about the womb and connecting deeper to your womb, connecting to your menstrual cycle even deeper, right? Connecting to what your womb wants to share with you, and then also working with your pleasure practices, two of them being breast massage and the crystal wand yoni practice. So when you are tuning into wanting to access more clarity, when you don't feel connected to your knowingness, it's because there's some obviously confusion, right? Like you're like, okay, is this right for me or is this right for me? And the way that you can start to tune in more and more is using these tools that I've given you. So using the breast massage, starting to use the wand. And, I'm sure you've heard like, just trust yourself. Well, sometimes I'm like, well, how the hell do I just trust myself? Right? Sometimes like that term doesn't really work. So it's learning how to connect deeper to the wisdom of your body, your mind, and your soul, and connecting them together. And when you start to access your sensuality and your sexual energy in a healthy and pure way, it starts to clear your channels. So when I say channels, I mean your knowingness channels. So I know the word psychic can sometimes throw people off, but they really are, a part of your psychic channels. So you have your claircognizance, right? That's your inner knowingness. When you just know something as the truth, you're like, I don't know why. I don't need any logic. I don't need any evidence. It's just my knowing. And then you have your clairaudient channels. That's what you can hear, right? So if anyone is tuned in to their intuition, and you can sometimes you hear it, you just can hear whether it's spirit, your guides, whatever it might be. So those are just two of them. And then you have your clairvoyant, being able to see. So this is for you, Anjali, right? So your pineal gland, it's a part of your chakra system, right? And so your pineal gland helps you see with clarity. And if you're not able to see with clarity, there's some disconnect happening there. So for you, Anjali, my invitation is about sitting with yourself more in silence and starting to connect to your body more, whether it's, caressing yourself, movement. I know that you like to sing, and movement, and really letting your creative expression flow is going to help you access that clarity. So when I am working with a client, I'm thinking of one client a couple months ago. She was with a guy, and she kind of knew, she was like, he's great. The sex is good, and da da da's good, but he's also polyamorous. And I don't know if that works for me. And I'm just trying to figure it out. So what I kept asking her is, okay, well, what are your boundaries, right? What are you available for and not available for? And what I like to say, like going back to the womb and the yoni, it has its own intelligence. Like that story I shared with you guys when I was seeing that guy. And after we got on a phone call, my yoni started to burn up and fire up. Not saying that will happen to you, but that was my like kick in the face of, this isn't for you. And I don't know if you ever heard the term pussy power, but like there is that pussy power that we have and that we get to start to utilize and harness. So there's a couple different ways that you can access your clarity, right? Through the pineal gland, through your knowingness. It's all the central channels, pineal gland, here, and then connecting deeper to your yoni. And how you do that is devoting to your own pleasure practices. And I don't just mean, actually like self-pleasuring, but touching your body, massaging your body, feeling your body, moving your body, and clearing out the blocks and the bullshit that gets in our way. So did that land for you, Anjali, and anyone else?
Yes, totally.
Awesome.
Um, this is great. I feel like the Yoni wand is gonna change my life. I'm
Yes.
so excited.
So glad. Beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, love. Awesome. So before we get into more Q&A, I do want to offer you guys something today. So for those of you that are feeling this guidance and you know that you want more support when it comes to your sacred sexuality and sensuality, I want to share with you, an opportunity and explore how you could possibly work with me. So, the truth is that if you do feel some type of disconnect right now to your womb, to your sensuality, to your sexuality, and you are in a relationship or want to be in a relationship, there is that integral piece of what it means to become the divine feminine. And if you're someone that possibly keeps attracting unavailable emotionally unavailable men, and where you maybe feel powerless or you just don't feel like he can meet you and hold all of you and all of your feminine, the biggest thing that I see is you need to learn how to clear your womb space, right? And clear any type of trauma that you might still be holding on to. So, what I'm offering you ladies today is if you're feeling called to get more support and want to learn how to use the pleasure wand, I know a lot of you already shared that you want to learn how to use it. I'm offering a free 30-minute call with me. So this is called an Awaken Your Pleasure consult call. And basically where I'm going to support you is really help you get clear on what you want to experience when it comes to your own sacred sexuality, relationships, intimacy, and possibly a partner to be or with your current partner. So I'm going to help you clear the blocks and see what is really stopping you right now from accessing that deeper clarity, from having that deeper connection to your body as a whole. And I'm going to help you lay out a game plan, and I'm going to share with you what I think your next best step could be. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a link in the chat box to my schedule. And I only have 4 of these sessions available. And I will share that they probably will book up fast, and I will be sending this out to about 15 other people as well. So I know there's a couple of you on right now. So if you do feel the call, definitely book in. There's a small intake form that you get to fill out and see what's really possible for you in this next step. So let's see, we're going to put the link in right now. Awesome. Thank you, Maddie. And yeah, that is about it. So now we have some time for Q&A. I know, Anjali, you already asked a question, and I want to just open up the space and really create, this safety and a judgment-free zone with anything that we've spoken about today, something that you want clarity on, something that you would like support with. I'm going to do a little bit of laser coaching with you guys. And so you can really walk away with some good value today. So you can write it in the chat box, or you can just raise your hand and come off of video. So who is the next woman? I know someone's got something. I'll give you guys a moment to sit with it. If you're worried about filling out the application now, I would suggest to definitely do it after the call so you can be, fully present and you don't have to rush through the form that I have for you. All right. Kristen, Jillian, nothing? You guys have me. You have me at your disposal.
I put something in the chat a minute ago,
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
but I
Okay,
can
great. All right, so let me read
discuss
it. So,
further.
my grief comes from a partner who died in an accident. Oh, April will be 3 years, but I haven't been able to move on. Recent partner knows about him and that I'm not over him
Oh no.
and really and how to handle it. I feel like I'm the one that's emotionally unavailable. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, how can I support you with this?
I don't know.
That's okay. So I can just maybe tune in energetically and see if anything wants to come through for you. How does that sound?
Yeah. Well, I just don't know. I mean, it was obviously so sudden. Like, so there was no like closure or like ending. It was
Yeah.
just it. That was just that.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just been like an open-ended time. And there's just, and yeah, recent partners. I'm not with anybody now, but like since him have like known about it just because I
Yeah.
was like, there's this thing. And not really able to handle it because they're just like the one that was like right after was just like, you are not over it, like you haven't moved on, and it was just too much for like him to be a part of. And I was like, yeah, I'm not over it, like I haven't moved on, and
Yeah.
like I don't care. I'd like to
Mm.
make it seem like I choose him over you still, even though he's gone. Like, so it's just been like hard to me.
I can't even imagine.
And yeah.
Yeah. So, a few things that are coming through for you, Jillian, is that it's okay to still feel this immense love for this person, even though they're not on this physical plane. So I don't know, what your spiritual practice is like, but my invitation would be to, I don't know, like, have you ever, felt him, like felt his presence since he's moved on or been able to like communicate with him? So with people that have passed away from me, I've never had, a lover pass away, but I've dealt with death a lot in my life. And I have, written them letters. I've tried to communicate with them, through a tree, like through anything, and see them in this physical reality, even though I can't ever touch their physical body again. Right. And knowing that it's okay to still feel love for this person. And you get to attract a man that doesn't have any of that jealousy, right? Even though this person is not here anymore, their spirit is still here, their physical presence isn't. But having a man that is actually okay, that you're always still going to love this other person. Because an integrated man who knows who he is and is up to big things and is doing his own work will be able to hold all of you, all of your emotions, everything that you still need to experience and go through. And I actually have a really good friend who lost her lover. I think they were engaged, to a drug overdose, and she's been with multiple partners since. And she, within time, tells them like, I still deeply love this person, and even though he's not here, he's still always going to be a part of my life. And she made the decision that she's not going to be with a man who isn't able to accept that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
I feel the same. Like,
yeah, does any of that land for you?
yeah. Yeah. Like it's going to be a thing. Like I'm going to, I don't know, like the more time that has passed, I feel like sometimes it's not as necessary to like say that this has been a part of my life and this
Mhm.
happened. But then I feel like also it is like really necessary
Mm,
to explain and to like let somebody know.
of course.
Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is it necessary? Do I need to say something? Do I not? Like, I've only been with like two people like since, and so it was like very like only so I'm only at like 2.5 years. So like it's still like new to me, kind of. Like
Yeah.
it's not like so far in the past. So the past two relationships I've been like, this is a part of me. Like this
Mm,
happened.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's really brave of you to do that. And there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong when you have that battle in your mind of, should I say something? Should I not? Is it important? Like, if it's important to you, that's all that matters, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
through your healing, my last invitation for you would be to keep connecting to this man who's moved on, who's transitioned, I like to say,
Mhm.
and ask him what he would want for you. I don't know if you've ever done that. I don't know if that feels weird, but ask him like
No.
you've never have.
No, I like, yeah. No, I don't know. Like some like my friends will say like, "Oh, he would want you to be happy." And I'm like, sometimes would he? Does he? I don't know. And then like other friends are like, he's, like he I have a good friend, her mom is very spiritual and was like, he's keeping these people away from you that he knows aren't good.
Mm.
Like the people
Ooh,
that
I just got the
didn't
chills, girl.
appreciate him. Yeah. She was like, no, he's keeping those people away from you. He's doing his job. Like,
Yeah, I just got head to toe chills, and that's always confirmation for me of the truth.
yeah.
So yeah, see him as your guardian angel. Like you
Hmm.
have this angel that loves you so much, and you get to trust and allow that you will be able to open your heart again and know that, I mean, I can't even imagine the pain and suffering that you've been through, and I really I have so much compassion for you, and know that your heart was designed and was built to love. And so you have the opportunity to love again in this lifetime. And now it's really up to you to choose, can I allow this? Can I allow this for myself? And it's giving yourself that permission.
Hmm.
So I hope that supported you in some way. And thank you so, so much for being vulnerable and for opening up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for bringing that into the space. Hmm. Okay. Is there anyone else that would love a little support and some laser coaching?
I have a quick question.
Yes,
I'm nervous.
Allie.
It's just like it's hard to talk about sometimes. But yeah, so I had like a sexual assault experience with a
Mm,
previous boyfriend. It was like a toxic relationship. It's been a long time. I've done a lot of like therapy, I've done a lot of healing and stuff like that. It's still a work in progress. Like I'm not 100% there, but I have this like fear that like if I get into a relationship and I'm not fully healed, that I'm gonna like self-sabotage or scare him away if I mention something. Cause like for me, I feel like I like to take a little bit of time to open up with the guy before
yeah.
I were to be like more intimate, for example. And I'm like nervous to like have to feel like I have to explain myself. So I'm just like
Mm,
blocking myself from, like getting, I feel like I'm like blocking myself from like even dating and putting myself out there because I'm so afraid of like scaring a guy away that I've had this experience and it still kind of affects me. But like, I don't know how to like get rid of that. So I don't know if you have any
mm.
insights on that or
Yes, yes, totally. So it's like what I'm hearing is like, okay, so it's like how do you navigate like the beginning stages of a relationship and let a man know that you need time to open up, pretty kind of,
yeah,
right?
like
And then
without
how do you
sounding like a victim or like this like
more
poor
like
me, like
yeah, I don't want him to freak out, you know.
Of
I don't
course.
know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you
I
so much
didn't
for
mean to cut you
asking.
off.
Yeah, this is real stuff. And so the first thing that's coming to me is when you shared, like explaining yourself. Number one, like you don't ever have to explain yourself. And I'm sure you've heard that, but in the sense of telling a man, I've been through some things in my past that I've done a lot of work on, that I've really worked through, and how I work when in the beginning stages of a relationship is I really like to take things slow, and I really need time to feel fully safe with you in order to be intimate with you. Does that work for you? So you're letting him know, this is where I stand. This is my boundary. Are you able to accept this? And then you see from there, you see if he's able to simply be okay with it and receive you just as you are. And if he's not, to me, that gives an indicator, okay, this man is not meant to be for me. Because as the feminine, we are the constant invitation for them, right? For me, when I'm starting to be intimate with a guy and we're like literally just the first time being physical, even the second time, even the third time, it relaxes my body more than anything when a man asks me, like, can I take your shirt off now? Can I kiss you here? Like asking a woman, and sometimes I'll tell the man, sorry, there was a little fly. I love when you ask me if you can do this because it really opens up my body and creates more safety for me. And then trusting yourself to know how you want to share it, right? How you want to share, like, I've had a sexual assault experience. And so it really takes me time to fully relax into my body and to drop in. And I want to experience intimacy with you, but it just takes me some time. And that's it. You don't have to, like, you can go into the story once you feel more comfortable if that aligns for you, but you don't have to go into all of it. You just let him know, like, this is where I'm at. I've worked through this, I've done my healing, and it still takes me a certain amount of time. So
I
does that
love that.
resonate for you?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah, it's like creating that energetic or just that boundary in general of like, this is where I am. Don't feeling like not feeling like I have to justify things or explain myself or be like,
Yes.
don't judge me because I might be different. It's like,
Nope.
hey, yeah,
Letting that go.
yeah. And like I have worked on myself. So like saying that versus being like as if it like just happened and I like just now realizing things. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
you're so welcome. Thank you for asking. Good question. All right, guys, we have a little bit of time left. Is there anyone else that would love some support this evening or afternoon, wherever you are? All right, so I am going to just kind of close out our ceremony, I like to call it, and really thank each and every one of you for showing up for yourself, for showing up for this work, for your healing, for taking time out of your life to want to be a better version of you. And it's an honor to share and to serve in this way. And, I couldn't do this work if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much for being here. The link is still in the chat box, and I'm also going to send it in an email. So if you do feel that call to, explore the possibility of seeing what my one-on-one work is like and want that extra guidance and support, you can book a 30-minute free session with me. So with that, I'm sending you all so much love and joy and pleasure and delight, and have a beautiful start to your weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Take good care.